Hello, I'm very excited to introduce you Recurrent Neural Network or RNN in this video. My name is Sébastien Juras. I work as a Digital Studio Director at Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. I am in charge of applying digital transformation best practices to my company, and RNN opens an infinite range of automation in our processes. After a small introduction, we will go through some of the most famous applications of RNN, but at the end of this video, I hope you will be able to think about your own application of RNN. To understand RNN, we start from the standard feed-forward neural network, and then only we can go through RNN's principle and different RNN's models. Finally, in the conclusion, we will remind me the key takeaways of this video. No particular prerequisites to follow this video, but if you would like to build your own RNN, you should definitely be familiar with the basic concepts of deep learning. Ready to start? Then go! Neural networks are the basis of the deep learning. Recurrent neural networks are so much used because they enhance the standard feed-forward neural network in order to manage the time dependency of the input, and this is very frequent. For example, every application dealing with speech, like speech recognition or speech tagging, use RNN. So does machine translation, chatbot conversation, text summary, question and answer. These three types of applications are part of the natural language processing domain. But you can find also RNN in autonomous vehicles and in many process automation. RNN are derived from feed-forward neural network. So let's review its principle before RNNs. In feed-forward neural network, a static input is associated to a static output. We train the neural network by associating the input with the outputs. If we open the box, we see several hidden layers connecting the input X to the output Y. All the lines in this diagram represent a weight to be adjusted in order to make the output matching with the input. In order to ease the understanding, let's imagine we have a single hidden layer in our model. The target is to find the good weight that allows us to predict the output knowing the input. Here, Wx and Wy represent two matrices. Using linear algebra, we can compute the array y from the hidden layer h1. Y equals wy dot h. Take care about the dimension. The dimension of y is imposed by the dimension of the output, but the dimension of h1 corresponds to the number of neurons in the layer h1. You can also compute h1 from using x using the formula h1 equals wx dot x. Again, the dimension of x is imposed. Using the calculation, you can predict y knowing the weight matrices and x. In our example, we have 5.3 plus 2.5 weights to determine. The process starts with the data preparation. The data is where is the value of your model. It will drive the performance of your prediction. They are rarely ready to use for training, and so they must be prepared for that. As this step is vital, tons of articles and tools have been created to support this step. In deep learning and machine learning in general, we train our model, meaning we trace some weight randomly and adjust them to improve our prediction. And thus, we must split data in two categories, one to perform the training and the other one to validate our model performance. Once the split is done, the training data, we set the weight to a random value. We compute y knowing the random weight and x. This is our first prediction. Of course, as the weight has been set to a random value, the prediction is bad, but we compute the error comparing the prediction computed and the expected output y. And we adjust the weight to reduce the error between the prediction and the expected value. This is the training phase of our algorithm. We compute also the prediction of the test data and calculate the error to validate the model performance on the new data, not used for weight determination. Once we have optimized the error on the test data, our model is ready to use with a fresh new input. Now it's time to talk about RNN. As already stated, RNN deals with the temporal dependencies. There exist two main differences with the standard feed-forward neural network. The first is that the input and the output are sequences. As you can see in the diagram, the weight matrices are the same whatever the sample of the sequence we take. The second difference is the memory. To make the prediction, we need first the input of the same steps, but also state of the model of the previous step. Let's take a closer view on the memory part. The memory aspect is represented by a new weight matrix to determine. Let's name it WS. This matrix represents the link between the output of all the neurons of the previous state to the input of all neurons at the current state. In our example, this is a 5.5 dimension matrix. If we take a look at the calculation, we can compute first the output of the hidden layer for this stage. S at t equals wx dot x at t plus ws dot s at t minus 1. And then predict the output of our model y equals wy dot s at t. This is the basics of RNN. It supports different models, all having in common to deal with sequence and integrate the previous state output. Model can be one-to-one as shown here, or one-to-many, or many-to-one, or many-to-many. RNN can also be integrated with different neural network layers to build a more sophisticated model. What is key is to take care with the different dimensions of the different layers, and after it's up to you to experiment some models. Adjust the parameters to find the optimized model. The RNN model we described so far corresponds to the basic model. It has been used to explain the basics related to RNN. But this model faces limitations. The first is the vanishing gradient. As you can see it on the slide, all input from the past influences the output, but the influences of the past decrease step after step. After 2 or 3 steps, the influence of the past vanishes. This can be problematic as it means that our model has a very, very short memory. The second limitation of the basic RNN model is that the future cannot influence the output. You may wonder if this is really a problem, but let's have a look at this question. Imagine that you must decide if the verb of a 3-word sentence is eats or drives. If you know that the name after the verb is banana, then the answer is obvious. To deal with these two limitations of basic RNN models, there exist other more sophisticated RNN cells. We won't go through them during this video, but you should not be afraid with their complexity. There are several libraries managing it for you. Main used RNN cells are LSTM for long short-term memory, GRU for gate recurrent units, and bidirectional RNN. To summarize, RNN are basic components of neural networks. They are able to manage time dependencies thanks to a new set of weights. Finally, to define their architecture, optimize their parameters, RNN follows standard deep learning practices such as data preparation, training, tests, parameter optimization. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it and it has provided you the will to go further. Bye bye.